Hi, students. How are you doing? Welcome to Naya Sim, and thank you all so much for all the love and support. Hope you all are doing great. So I am going to give you back story of what it's going on. So during the period that Black people were all over social media trying to create voice for Marcellus Williams, all right. So it happened that some a Black content creator reached out to all these big celebrity content creators, Black people also. I don't know other people she reached out to, but she reached out to consciously, and you all know consciously. Consciously is he is very passionate about Black community, what is going on in Black community. He has been a great voice also to our community. So it happened that she reached out to him through TikTok, right? And you all already know what happens when you send message to people on TikTok. Sometimes the person may actually not see it, right? Because he has about 2 million something followers, and they definitely will be sending messages and all of that. And also for that at that period, he was also not on social media, so there is also possibility that he took time off from social media, or he has family affairs, things that he is settling. He did not see the message, right? So the girl called him out and saying that he is a hypocrite, and he has been doing something like this, and this is not cool. And I mean, a lot of people also took time to also express their displeasure over what the lady did. But you know what, stay glued. Let's get into
This is definitely a teachable moment right here. Let's get into it.
Reaching out to celebrities and influencers, y'all fucking ignored me. I'm not gonna start dropping names. I'm gonna consult with some people to make sure I can drop names properly first. But people, I was sending long messages. Hey, reaching out, innocent Black man, execution September 24th, seen, left on red, left on red, left on delivered. The consciously, I got so many fucking words lined up for you. You don't even know how much stuff I got to say to you. With the consciously, to be getting on here crying, shit, and crying, throwing up now, when I sent you a DM a month and a half before you decided to make a post about the case, you're weak. And I don't care what anybody has to say about this. You weren't a part of the campaign. This wasn't your life. This wasn't your work. And frankly, he is dead now. So it's up and it's stuck now. Before, I was trying to be respectable, trying to be nice and shit. That shit is dead. Because I was begging and pleading and people fucking DM, asking them to post about this shit, and they couldn't be fucking bothered. So, fuck y'all. From the deepest, darkest part of my heart. Fuck y'all. Thank you.
Full transparency. When I first watched this video, not only did it rub me the wrong way and piss me off, I was ready to go off, but I don't think that's the most productive thing to do in this moment. I apologize that I didn't respond to this DM in a timely manner. However, lumping me in with the other celebrities and influencers that you said left you on red and didn't reply to you, I think is very disingenuous. And though I didn't see her message until Sunday, I was already posting about it. I was already accepting IG collaboration invites, amplifying what was happening to him, getting people to call in to the governor. Especially because you said that you wasn't going to say nobody's name until you cleared up with your team, and the only name you decided to drop was Consciously, the person that did in fact respond to you and did not leave you on red. That was disheartening. Somebody asked her in the comment section, is there a possibility that he may not have seen the DM? Genuine question. Her response, I don't know. I don't care. This is the second time effing us over at my organization. It's almost like she's saying, because I didn't work with her campaign, that means I didn't care about what's happening in this case. Here's the DM right here. Thank you for posting about our client. We're super grateful for your support. This comes from the Innocence Project. She contacted me through Instagram DM. Here's a screen recording of all the DMs I get and why it's best to always contact me through email if you want me to amplify, share, GoFundMe, or do anything like that, which I do all the time. Now let's read what I said on Sunday when I responded. Man, I need to check my DMs more often because I hope they do not blank this man. Yesterday, and huge F you too, not gonna lie. You shitted on us last year over Joseph Armin, and you didn't come in the clutch this time either. I said I made a video and shared multiple videos about Marcellus on my page. I did live streams on them too on TikTok. All this is verifiable. She didn't respond to that message. Her mind was already made up. And blaming on the busy schedule all you want. You bandwagon this shit. I've been hit you up. Her video is intellectually dishonest and manufacturing a narrative that says that Consciously did not post about this, when in fact I did. This is all of the tweets that I made last week before I seen the message from her. Joseph Armin case she bringing up. She DM'd me, I responded a month later. I'm sorry, I apologize. Again though, did not leave her on red, And I responded. So why am I being lumped into all these other nameless celebrities and content creators, and the only person she said is me? So the narrative she's painting is because she hit me up and I didn't respond in a timely manner to her. It's F for me. I'm weak. And I'm crying and I'm sobbing. And this is a lot of stretch. You could have just said you don't like me and just fuck me. That's it. Listen, I get it. She mad, she frustrated, and she want to go off on the folks that she feel like lets her down in this case. I apologize for letting you down. But saying that I didn't talk about this case, or I didn't care about this case, or I ignored you, or I left you on red, those are all false narratives, all false statements, and they're very disingenuous to what you're talking about and to what I'm talking about in both our brands.
So I'm catching up, easing back into social media, right? And apparently, a couple of days after Marcellus Williams died, someone decides to get on the internet and call out Conscious Lee for not posting sooner, to hold Black content creators, specifically Black content creators who talk about race and social justice, to the same standard of audience as entertainment content creators and celebrities. Just to be clear, there is no one in here who thinks that that's a good idea, right? Because I need to make sure that everybody here is operating with ethics and principles in this bitch. So I know there's no one under the sound of my voice who would look at the body of a lynched Black man and then turn to a Black man who is still alive and say, why didn't you do more to stop it? There's no one who thinks that's a good idea, right? Nobody here? Because let's be specific about what happened here. A Black man is being lynched in front of a crowd of witnesses on a time clock, and you turn to one of those witnesses, another Black man, and said, why aren't you doing more to stop it? A regular Black man who just happens to have a lot of followers. Like that's literally the only distinction. You turn into him and calling him weak for not doing more to stop the lynching of another Black man happening in his face. Let me be clear, you cannot be in community with me if you think that is a good idea. If you think that doing that is a necessary, righteous, right, and good thing to do in a movement space. Like, yeah, that's good. Get him again. And then I watched the video, and the first thing she said was, now that Marcellus Williams has made his transition, which means you knew that shit wasn't right to say, and you had to sit on it until after that man died. Whoo! If you think what happened to Conscious Lee this week was cool and good, unfollow me and don't you ever interact with me again.
The Conscious Lee has 2.6 million followers. I have over 100,000. I like to think I'm just as popular. I'm not shiny, but I do have Vicks on my face because I can't breathe. But back to the conversation. Even with the large gap of followers between me and the Conscious Lee, I can assure you, Christina, alone, for myself, I have hundreds of unopened DM on TikTok alone. And even when I become mutual with somebody, it takes me a while to see their messages because my message board is filled with unended conversations with mutuals and followers alike. And I understand that most people in the comments saying that's an excuse, he should have known her message, he should have seen her message, just don't have that kind of responsibility. This is not a flex or a brag, this is reality. You don't have to deal with this shit. The best example I can give you to understand how to work with this is if you worked in corporate. When you come on Monday after going home Friday, you have tons of emails to go through. And as you're answering them on Monday, they don't stop coming, you're still getting new emails to go through. Not to mention you have to categorize your email with order of importance. Maybe you're waiting for a response from that person, this, that, and the third. There's a lot that goes into these things. You guys assume DMs are just like, hi, I love your content, love your account. Some DMs are long and different, tagging you to other videos, tagging you to book quotes, telling you about this research and that justice movement and that social movement. And it takes a while to get through that. And am I excusing his behavior for not seeing her DM on time? Absolutely. Because it is a reality, but not only that, he did apologize for letting her down because he felt like he did. But at the same time, because two things can be true at once, many content creators have said, especially those with a lot of followings, please email me. This is why we have emails in our bios. It's much easier to get through important information via email than a DM. On another note, I know that the internet's biggest food is hatred. You guys relish on hatred. Hatred is yummy to most of you online. But I think you guys need to be mindful of how quick you feed into these things. That woman is full of anger and passion, reasonable emotions, valid emotions, but they are not caused by the Conscious Lee. Conscious Lee just so happened to be the target of her destruction. In other words, she put all of that anger, all of that passion, all of that hatred on his back, claiming him to be incompetent and weak, and basically, in a way, putting him as the sole responsible factor in the passing of Mr. Williams. And if I was the target of her destruction and she had said this about me, I would do the same as him. Because you lot are shocked at him defending himself, defending his character, defending his account, defending the work that he's been doing for years. What did you guys expect him to do? As if you don't understand how this can impact his account. As if you wouldn't have done the same yourself. And while I'll never get upset at that woman for being passionate and angry, because that passion and anger drives her to do the work that she does, which is extremely important, because again, multiple things can be true at once. What she did to the consciously is not valid, nor is it okay. I think we should be more mindful how we express our anger, especially online, because we've seen many times content creators with valid points, content creators who are reasonably upset, content creators who are reasonably angry at the injustice, at the world, at everything that's going on, pointing their fingers to specific people and demographics, and all of their point is lost. And while maybe some of you guys want to hope that if the consciously had said something about Mr. Williams long before, that it would have popped up and would have made a difference in the outcome of what happened 2 days ago, everything tells us otherwise. We had millions of people calling. We had millions of people signing petitions. We had millions of people talking about it on TikTok, reposting videos, talking about this, talking about it on Twitter, talking about it on Instagram. And look at the result of what happened 2 days ago. And this is not to tell us that our effort was pointless, because I don't think it was. But this is to tell us that if we want to be mad at people, let's be mad at people who actually did nothing. Let's be mad at people who went against what we asked for. So maybe removing the gaze from the consciously to the nameless celebrities and other accounts that left you unread. Or even better, turning the gaze from those people too to the actual governors, to the judge. I think that would be more beneficial instead of slandering each other for not meeting certain expectations. I don't know.
The consciously, I got so many fucking words lined up for you. You don't even know how much.
I am so glad that it allowed me to stitch this video, because this is a serious conversation that needs to be had. And I am going to do the best that I can to amplify the importance of what's going on. Now, if you guys have not watched that girl's, I think her name is like Khadijah or Kiasia or something, go and watch her original video. But then it's important to review the response that Consciously had. And if anybody don't know, this is the topic about Marcellus Williams, the man that they executed on September 24th of this year. And even though it was at the beginning of this week, this is why it's important to have these kind of conversations. So I'm here to talk about it. And the reason why that I know that I can talk about this is because what a lot of people don't know on this platform, and I'm posting this on my other platform as well. A lot of people don't know that I am a social media manager, and I am literally almost done with my digital marketing certification. So when it comes to social media, I know how it works. My client that I have right now, she has over 100,000 followers on like all of her platforms, but her voice is so amplified, she don't even really need to use her platforms because she's already sat down with Oprah. She's already sat down with a lot of actors. She's already been to the White House and advocated for the rights of women and literally getting them the help that they need. And learning from her, one thing that I have learned is it is highly important as a social media marketer, social media manager, when you are literally reaching out to influencers, celebrities, and you know for a fact they're large content creators, send an email. I'm gonna just be real. Send an email, because on my client's accounts, she receives so many messages that sometimes it's hard for me to even follow. I'll write it down and then I'll tell her about it during our weekly meetings. And then that's when she's receiving those messages, because she's a busy woman, and that is my 1 hour to literally just unload everything that I need to give her, whether it's an invite to a podcast, to pretty much get the word out there, or anything. It's literally easier. So I'm her social media manager, and she has a virtual assistant. Her virtual assistant will say the same thing. It's important to email it. Never send a straight DM. And if somebody do, directly tell them, send an email. If you want this problem solved immediately, send an email. Now, I understand that she's young, and it sounds like she's very passionate about the criminal justice of not the criminal justice sector, justice equality. That's something that I was very passionate about. And that was something that I truly learned. And I used to sit down and watch so many videos understanding the death penalty, how the death penalty phase work, like how everything works. As soon as you are granted the death penalty, you literally start those phases. You start all of those appeals to start exhausting. And when they keep coming back denied, then that's when you're like, okay, you got to keep going through these appeals. And like she said, I sent him a message a month and a half before. Let's just be real. If your organization that you work with is not as big as the Innocence Project, 9 times out of 10, they're not going to amplify your organization. I'm just going to be real. I'm going to be real about that. They are not going to amplify it because it's not a strong enough platform, or they do not have enough followers. So I understand that this is personal because a man literally lost his life to the criminal justice system for something that he allegedly did not do. And how I look at this whole situation, yes, I have a certain perspective on it. However, it's very important to understand, as social media managers, send an email. I'm telling you, you will receive way more, like you will get way more progression sending an email. I literally sent emails to brand deals, got a message back within a week versus sending a message on social media. Because yeah, even as my client, she even said sometimes it's hard to get to the messages. And there's times where I have to, and we have the CRMs to where all the messages come to one space, but it's always so many. Your best bet is to send an email, because a lot of us receive a lot of spams. We receive a lot of things we don't want to see or deal with in those messages. So that's my advice to you. Send an email, love. It's going to be so much easier on your end if you are a social media manager and working in communication. Second off, my next thing is pretty much I'm just responding to Consciously video. Honestly, this is what I'm going to say. Now that she put the proof in the pudding, she literally pulled receipts. My thing is with Consciously or any of these advocate TikTok content creators who tries to amplify voices, when it comes to being a content creator, I wouldn't even responded to that. That's just me. And the only thing that I would have did was just apologize, because pretty much what you did was you gaslit and just shifted the blame back on her and just said, oh, well, that was disingenuous. No, you were disingenuous when you literally read her message, seen her message, and you still pushed out videos, but you started pushing them out a week before the execution. So you let everybody know you seen it back in August 5th, but you didn't start amplifying it until literally right before his execution date. That's the fucked up part. I'm just going to be honest. That's the fucked up part. But and then it took you to see the Innocence Project reach out to you and say, hey, no, as a advocate, and yes, I am an advocate, which is why I'm saying this, except this is not my section, because the goal was for me to become a lawyer and work for the Innocent Project. But that's when I realized I don't want to be a lawyer, because I will take it too personal when people are not helping me. So I'm advocating for my women, and I'm gonna leave the professionals up to that. But I definitely want to use my voice for this. I think if you are going to advocate for any black man, and this is just advice for any person who called themselves advocate, except we ain't gonna speak on that goofy on the other end, because I don't mess with him, even though he be trying to advocate, but he a military man, be messing around with everybody else. Anyway, let's get to the topic at hand. Let me get back to it really quick. Y'all, I really just don't like that content creator, if y'all know who I'm talking about. I speak, that's his name. Anyway, Consciously, this is just my advice to you. If you are going to utilize your platform, start amplifying it, because potentially this could have been something that could have reached something or someone else in power, that it could have been pushed way in advance. When they give you that death warrant and you have the day that you are being executed, it's like, no, the clock start ticking until your death day. So yes, I definitely do believe that you did hop on the bandwagon. And I'm not sure, but I literally just learned about this. This is technically called a logical fallacy. This fallacy in advertising is technically the bandwagon. You hopped on the bandwagon at the last minute when she had already gave you all the information you needed about this Marcellus Williams execution date. So that's just, I think, do a little bit better. If you need a social media manager, hi, I'm Kat. I am a social media manager and marketer. So if you need help with going through your DMs and making sure everything's straight, let me know. And I got you, because I mess with you. But I just think in this didn't warrant a response, because at the end of the day, you know you were wrong. You knew not responding fast enough, which you held yourself accountable for. You knew that this was a very important moment. And yes, it could have potentially changed this man's life. In the eye of the courts, no. But it could have possibly piqued someone in the Supreme Court just because of how the way you argue. You could have at least flipped at least 2 to 3 of them justices. I don't know. I just feel like use your voice a little bit more powerful. Don't wait until the last minute, because these men sit on death row for a max like 20 to 25 years. So they sit there awaiting their death date. Just imagine. And then they give you a warrant to let you know, hey, we are going to kill you. And in certain states, they give you the option on how you want to die. So it's like, this is a very important moment and a learning lesson as a social media manager. Do emails or get people to gain traction in their comments for them to see it. And then as a influencer, and me becoming an influencer, it's important to amplify serious situations like this. Don't wait until the last minute, because you never know. Time is ticking for these men and women sitting on death row. Let's just be real.
I consider Consciously a friend, and over the last few years, I've had the pleasure of getting to know him as a person, and I find him to be a kind and genuine and caring soul. I really do. I think he wears his heart on his sleeve, and he truly believes in what he's saying, and he really cares so much about people. So I was very disheartened to see the backlash he got this past week for not responding to an issue quick enough for folks liking, for not checking his DMs enough. And I was also surprised by the number of content creators who co-signed this backlash. That was interesting, because I feel like we should know better as a group. But anyhow, I'm not going to talk about Consciously's experience. That is for him to discuss. But I just want to talk about my experience, what I've done over the last couple of weeks, what my schedule looks like, and the entitlement that some of y'all have to folks' time, energy, and labor. So I am a full-time lawyer still. I work minimum of 40 hours per week. I'm also an adjunct law professor in the spring. So still have a day job. Very few content creators can do this full-time with no other day job or part-time job or something. I am also a stand-up comedian who tours. I'm also a wife and a mama, so I do school drop-offs and pickups and meetings with teachers and IEP meetings and swim lessons and trips to the zoo and all of the things that come with momming and being a wife and just being, in a family. Over the past couple of weeks, I'm going to tell you what I've done. So I worked my full-time day job, sometimes a little more than 40 hours in the week, depending on some stuff that came up. I did take leave 2 days. One day was personal leave and one day was sick leave. Unfortunately, I did get sick. And I also attended the Congressional Black Caucus events for 3 days, covered those events when I was outside of my job. I also went to the Atlantic Festival to learn about, what the journalists had to say, really get an idea of politics and this election, how it plays into journalism. I also went to the Capitol for the Project 2025 hearings, very emotional. Got to interview the people who testified, interview Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley and other members of Congress. I went to the White House for the announcement of the new executive order to combat gun violence, because that's personal activism to me. My brother is a gun violence victim, unfortunately. I also did stand-up. I featured in 4 shows in Baltimore for Shantae Wayans, and I opened for D.L. Hughley in D.C., so I had that going on. I canvassed for a politician. I'm about to go attend an event, a First Amendment event right now in D.C. I fly in and out of a city tomorrow for a political event. Fly in the morning, fly out that evening, so I can be back Monday to take my baby to school and do my day job. And also all of the content I did. Most of my content is unpaid, but some of it is paid. And I'm going to be honest, I'm a little behind on some of my paid content because I'm stressed. And the meetings, the many meetings I have outside of work with the different organizations I'm working with, trying to do as much pro bono work as I can to get issues out there to people. Anyway, I say all of that to say that maybe some of y'all can do it better. Maybe you can answer every DM, every email, every opportunity. Maybe you can get the darkest, most horrible things in your inbox every single day coming to you, and you can sift through them and be emotionally stable. And maybe you can churn out content that is researched and detailed and accurate and correct, and just do it all day long in the midst of everything else. Maybe you can do that. And if you can, my God, more props to you. Build your platform and do it. But I can't. We're all different. We all have different limitations, and the entitlement that you have to another person's time, labor, and emotional energy is crazy, because you're not entitled to it. You are entitled to unfollow. You are entitled to say, maybe this doesn't serve me, or I'm disappointed, or what have you, but you're not entitled to place a workload on another human being, right, that they have already expressed they cannot handle, that they have expressed that they are doing their absolute best. And that goes for so many content creators. I want you to think about the 2 weeks. That's it. That's about 2 weeks of work that I described that I do. And I want you to think about all the ways that you can do it better. And then I want you to go do it. I've already told you. I'm doing the best that I can do. And if you're superhuman, that's amazing. Congratulations and bravo. I hope you use that superhuman skill for good. But to sit here and get mad at regular people who do a lot of this for free, right? And who have to have other obligations. And we have our own traumas. Like I said, my brother's a murder victim. There's a lot of things, the topics I don't touch, because I have a breakdown trying to cover them. There's a million reasons why someone might wait to cover something or not cover something at all. But at the end of the day, you are just not entitled to people's time, labor, and energy like that. And I feel like so many people have lost that, just that simple concept.
This is all I got from this video, and I am going to try as much as I can to be very diplomatic with this issue and the people involved, right? Consciously is someone that I have been following for a longer time, and I know him too well. I know what he can do, I know what he cannot do, and I know how passionate Consciously is about anything that concerns Black community. I mean, he is doing it amazingly great. So a very big shout out to him, right? And for the young lady that called him out, I really do not know you a lot, but you both of you are like, I mean, like we all are family, right? And there is a whole lot going on in people's lives. And maybe at that point in time, I understand that you are absolutely very passionate about saving Marcellus, right? About the justice system and everything going around. And all you wanted to do was to spread the message across so that the big content creators, especially the celebrity, we carry the news along, like carry it, right? But the problem is that most times people do not see your email. Sorry, not email, your DM, right? Or the chats you send on social media. I mean, there are some that takes me like 4 months, 2 months, and the rest of it before seeing it. Okay, the last one that happened to me was Cindy's Villa. She wrote me, right? And I did not see the message. And then it happened like somebody saw it. I don't know, like that it opened on itself. Probably maybe a student or somebody, I don't know how, but I did not see the message. And literally, I saw the message after 1 month. And then I responded, apologized, right? So most times, with all our passion, we do things wrongly, especially sending a direct message to somebody. Most times, the person don't get it directly. It takes a whole lot of time before they see it. But like every other person explained, most times email is the best way to send, like, talk to people, because majority of people tend to check their email often, more often than, like, DMs, because consciously is not a smart person when it comes to TikTok. So trust me, there will be thousands, or should I say hundreds, okay, maybe hundreds of messages lined up, right? And calling him out is not the best thing. Why did I say that? Number one is there are times people are actually not on social media. I know a lot of people take break from social media, and when they are doing that, they disable their Instagram, like all socials. Why? Because they want peace. I mean, managing social media is really very hard. Now, you all already know what happened to our brother Marcellus was not a great one. I mean, everybody literally, people mourned, right? People were really, really, like, very sad. Some couldn't even come out anywhere or something. Like, it was really a very sad moment for everybody. And calling somebody out at that point in time was not a good idea. Mm-mm, not a good idea. Not just, I know there are, you see, let me tell us something. There are some things people can handle. There are also things people cannot handle, right? There are also other people on social media that talk about, there are some people that couldn't stand to speak about what is happening to Marcellus or what happened to him. Why? Because they are probably still in shock and trying to recover from it. So, am I going to tell them that it is a must that you cover this? It is not a must. Why? Because people handle pain, people handle grief differently. That I am strong enough to report it does not mean the other person is strong enough to report it. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Literally, for how many days I was down after the going for back and center. I was down. So we really can do better with the way we talk to people. We really can do better with the way we handle things. The worst things to do at this point in time is looking for a black man or a black woman that spoke or did not speak during that period. And let people be. People want differently. People grieve differently. People have other things too going on in their lives. They are not just only on social media, right? They also have their lives aside from social medias. They have families. Conscious man is also a family man, right? So maybe also something is also happening in his own family that you and I do not know. But we are also very quick to come out on the social media to call him out. Now, what am I saying in essence? We really can do better. Why am I saying we can do better? I always say this a lot because the way we tend to jump into conclusion over some people's issue, it's really disheartening, right? And I want you to also place yourself in that person's shoes. That's why most times when I want to do some certain things, I ask myself, will this really be good if I do this? Like, if somebody do this to me and all that, or is this really worth it? Or coming out here to call my fellow brother or my kinfolk out over something that the person didn't even see, you know? And he also, he even apologized and said, maybe you were expecting more from me or something like that. But sincerely speaking, he did not see that, right? So sometimes before we call people out, please, people are dealing with some certain things. That people come out here to educate us or enlighten us about some certain things going on does not mean that their life is all perfect. It is not. Some people are going through it that they are not even telling you. Please be kind. See you all in my next video. Bye for now.